Today's video we'll be looking at a very interesting interview that AMD CEO Lisa Su had with CNBC talking about PlayStation 5 and its special sauce. They keep using this special sauce verbiage. Not sure what's up with all of that, but I do want to take a look at their specific quote. I want to talk a little bit about PlayStation 5 and what to expect. I know we're still a little ways away, but as more information is trickling out, expect the talk to heat up a little bit more as we head into 2020 and beyond. For those of you guys that own Final Fantasy XIV and you want to get back into the game, the Heavensward Standard Edition is available free right now, and if you don't own Final Fantasy XIV, well, the base game is $20. They also have the complete collection on sale for $30. That's probably what I'd honestly recommend, but nonetheless, we'll take a look at that. Also, Borderlands 3 had its major gameplay reveal, and we've got some pretty cool details about the game, including microtransactions, how long the game will take to beat if you rush through it, and it's actually going to be a pretty lengthy game even if you rush through it. I think that's to be expected with a game like Borderlands, but nonetheless, we'll talk all about that. And the new Call of Duty, of course, there's gonna be another Call of Duty game in 2019, this one coming from Infinity Ward. That should be revealed by Activision by the end of June. We'll talk that at the end of this video. First up, as I mentioned, Lisa Su had an interview with CNBC, and she is the CEO of AMD, and AMD is working on the CPU for the PlayStation 5. Here's what Su said about the PlayStation 5 and what they're working on it. Quote, "What we have done with Sony is really architect something for their application, for their special sauce. It's a great honor for us. We're really excited about what the next generation of PlayStation will do." The verbiage special sauce has been reiterated over and over again by AMD. I don't really know what that means or why they chose the specific wording of special sauce, but nonetheless, that has gotten gamers excited. And of course, coming out of a Wired interview, we know a lot about Sony's next box. We don't know how it'll look like, but we do know that the PlayStation 5 will use an AMD chip with a CPU from the 3rd generation Ryzen. Ryzen has been a very good line of CPUs on the PC side of things in terms of creating great CPUs at an accessible budget that anybody can really pick up. This CPU is again based on the 3rd generation of AMD's Ryzen line and contains 8 cores of the company's new 7nm Zen 2 microarchitecture. We also know that the PlayStation 5 will support physical media, as they did boot up Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5, and also we know based on that the console will at least feature backwards compatibility to PlayStation 4 games. Hopefully it'll extend beyond that and feature backwards compatibility with PS3, PS2, and PS1, but nonetheless, at least we know it'll have backwards compatibility with PlayStation 4. Also, we know that it has a specially designed solid-state drive, which will significantly lower loading speeds, and it'll apparently support 8K visuals, which I'm not completely sold on. I mean, what are we gonna play, 8K Tetris or 8K Pong? It's very difficult to run games at 4K, and then you want to double the resolution. 8K is gonna be a massive undertaking, and we do also know that the GPU that the PlayStation 5 features will support ray tracing, which is pretty incredible in its own right, given the fact that ray tracing is something that's only been introduced recently in PC gaming, and it's only available among the high-end NVIDIA GPUs, the RTX 2060 being the cheapest out of them all, being like a $350 GPU. So given that, I don't know, they're trying to get a lot of stuff in the PlayStation 5 when you take a look at the higher-end CPU, the great GPU, the fact that they're trying to get an SSD in there as well. The pricing of the PlayStation 5 is going to be a really interesting talking point. I think it has to be at a $500 minimum price point. $600 I don't think is completely out of the realm of possibility, but we shall see. Currently, we do know that AMD is prepping up something special with the PlayStation 5, given all the talk that's been around that and given the interview that Lisa Su had with CNBC. We'll keep you guys posted on all things PlayStation 5, but right now we have a significant amount of information to go on. Unfortunately, we do know that Sony won't be a part of E3, so who knows when we're gonna get the next major PS5 info drop. Probably not for a little bit at this point, given that we still have a lot of PlayStation 4 games to come out. We have games like The Last of Us Part 2. Let those games be released without taking the wind under their sail, given that if you start revealing too much about the PlayStation 5, people are just gonna get inherently excited about that, and a lot of the luster is gonna be removed from the upcoming games on the PlayStation 4. That's just what I would personally do, but nonetheless, that's just my 2 cents. Moving on from that, Final Fantasy XIV Heavensward is available for free on the PlayStation Store. So if you own the standard edition of Final Fantasy XIV, you can go on the PlayStation Store and get Heavensward absolutely free. Now, unfortunately, if you don't own FF14 on your PlayStation Store account, you cannot add FF14 Heavensward to your account and then just have it for free. If you do want, you can pick up the starter edition for $20, which is okay. Final Fantasy XIV for $20 is a good buy, and then getting Heavensward for free is pretty cool, and you'll get 30 days of game time for free. However, they do have the complete edition, which also includes Stormblood, and that's on sale for $30. I would honestly go that route if you are looking to get into the FF14 experience. Stormblood is an awesome expansion, and it just makes the entire FF14 experience a lot better. Also, Final Fantasy XIV is going to get its next major expansion in Shadowbringer. That'll be coming later in June. So Final Fantasy XIV, a game that really came back from the depths of hell. That's why I always mention when you guys are talking crap about Anthem, and all rightfully so, don't get me wrong, but we've seen games like Final Fantasy XIV, like No Man's Sky, like The Elder Scrolls Online come back from the depths of hell, and it's so great to see where FF14 is at this point in 2019. If we go back to when the game was originally released, did I ever think we would get to a point where Final Fantasy XIV is one of the most, if not the most compelling online multiplayer RPGs? No, I absolutely did not, and if you've yet to get into the experience, it's a great time. Even if you don't know about Final Fantasy, you can still go into it expecting a great MMORPG with great music, great presentation, visually it's fantastic, a lot of great content, and a decent story in there as well. And right now, Heavensward is available for free, that for those of you that do have the standard edition and want to jump back in with Heavensward as a free add-on. Alright, next up, Borderlands 3 had its first official gameplay footage revealed as a part of a live stream, and we got a lot of interesting information. Most notably, microtransactions will be included in the game. It was actually kind of weird how Randy Pitchford went about saying it. First saying that the game wouldn't have microtransactions, but then saying that the game would have in-game cosmetics that you could buy with real-world money. I mean, doesn't that sound like microtransactions? It was also noted that the game will have DLC down the line, but it won't be all too game-altering. I think that's the point he tried to drive home, is that microtransactions will be in the game, but they won't be fundamental to the gameplay and they won't alter your gameplay experience. So there you have it with that. And also, speaking to PC Gamer, Gearbox creative director Paul Sage says that Borderlands 3 will last about 30 hours, but that's only if you focus on completing the main story as fast as possible. Saying, quote, if you beeline it through, and I mean beelining it through, it might take you 30 hours to complete the main story. 30 hours to rush through a game's main story? I feel like that's quite lengthy. I've rushed through games in the past before. Hell, I've rushed through Borderlands and Borderlands 2 in the past, and it definitely wasn't 30 hours. You can definitely complete those games in around 15 hours if you rush the hell through it. Now, obviously, you're not getting the best experience possible out of Borderlands if you just rush through the game. You should take your time, do all of the side content, do some exploration, and with Borderlands 3, obviously, it's going to be a much more expansive game than, say, Borderlands 2 or the pre-sequel. But nonetheless, Borderlands 3 is without a doubt one of the hotly anticipated games of 2019. It might very well be the most anticipated game of 2019. That might be pushing it a little bit with games like The Last of Us Part 2 also coming this year. But nonetheless, it is going to be a gigantic game release, and it's very quickly approaching. That's why I loved what Gearbox did with this game. They didn't announce it like 2 years ahead of time and then just built up anticipation that way. They just announced the game when the anticipation was already there because everybody knew that Gearbox was working on the game, and then they said, hey, this game is coming out very soon. It'll be out September 13th, so that's awesome. Unfortunately, it is getting some negative backlash due to the PC version being an Epic Game Store exclusive for the time being, but of course on the PlayStation 4, you'll be able to buy it through the PlayStation Store, or you'll be able to get a physical copy. And the game looks to be rather lengthy at taking around 30 hours if you focus on the main path only. Lastly, another game that'll probably end up being one of the more anticipated games of the year is a new Call of Duty game. It's been confirmed by Activision to be revealed before the end of June, and this will be Infinity Ward's Call of Duty game. I know Infinity Ward has been a little hit or miss recently, but nonetheless, the rumor mill does have it pointing towards being Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4, which is pretty cool. I mean, Modern Warfare is probably the most iconic line of the Call of Duty games, and around this time every year, Activision and their talks about Call of Duty usually ramps up, given that a reveal needs to come soon and then the game needs to begin being promoted for a release later in the fall. And during today's financial call, going over financial results from the quarter of 2019, Activision confirmed that the upcoming Call of Duty title developed by Infinity Ward will be unveiled soon. Specifically, they noted that the game would be revealed later on in the year's second quarter. For those that are unaware, the second quarter does end on June 30th, meaning that the game will be revealed before the end of June, and usually Call of Duty does have some sort of presence at E3, so who knows if we're going to get a reveal a little before E3 and then a full-blown gameplay reveal at E3. That's something I could see. And I imagine that the game would be due out, say, October, November time. It used to be November for a long time, but Call of Duty Black Ops 4 kind of changed things up a little bit, releasing in October, so we'll see. I feel like the Call of Duty franchise is losing a little bit of luster. Black Ops 4 revitalized it a little bit, adding Battle Royale. However, what are you going to do with Modern Warfare 4? Call of Duty definitely isn't at the apex, no pun intended, that it was at, say, years ago, you know, around the time of Modern Warfare 2, the first Black Ops, and so on, but it's still a major franchise, and whenever one's revealed, there's definitely going to be some level of anticipation surrounding it. However, However, I still find it incredibly shocking that Call of Duty has persisted for this long, but that is a credit to Activision and all of the studios that work on the franchise. And that's gonna conclude this video. Again, AMD CEO Lisa Su is saying that the PlayStation 5 is gonna have some sort of special sauce, whatever that means. Final Fantasy XIV Heavensward Standard Edition is available free right now on the PlayStation Store, but that is if you own Final Fantasy XIV. Borderlands 3 will take around 30 hours to beat if you rush through the game and focus on the main path alone, and the new Call of Duty game is confirmed by Activision to be revealed before the end of June, probably gonna end up being Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4. That's gonna conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.